Welcome into Pro Football Addiction. There is an absolute legacy game loading this weekend on Sunday when the Baltimore Ravens travel up to Buffalo to take on the Bills Sunday at 6:30 Eastern, where it will be incredibly cold. 10 to 20 degrees will be the temperature, but it's going to feel like about 5 degrees with wind gusts up to and over 20 miles an hour. This is Pro Football Addiction. We specialize in college football over on College Football Addiction, but we are starting this channel. So if you found us on our very first video, we appreciate you. We would love if you helped us grow by hitting that subscribe button. It will not always be me on camera, as we will have other folks that do content here. But if you like what we do and you're a fan of any of our content or the NFL, we'd love to have you subscribe. Now, playoff football will be at its finest with the NFL's top two contenders for the MVP race, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, dueling and going at it. The winner obviously punches their ticket to the AFC Championship game and a likely trip to Arrowhead to face off with the 15-2 Chiefs. There are so many storylines in this one, and none greater than the MVP race. Though that has likely already been decided, the votes have been cast, this one seems to mean a little bit more than just a matchup with the Ravens and Bills. To be the best, which both of these two quarterbacks certainly aspire to be, you have to be the best. But much more is at stake in this game than to just unseat a potential defending champ when they face off next week with whoever that will be. This is the kind of matchup that makes a remarkable quarterback a legend. When the story is told on each of their respective careers, the outcome of this contest will feature a chapter with the winner getting a crack at Patrick Mahomes next week. You win this week, and you're talking about a legendary run, the sort of march into greatness that will be remembered for decades to come for both the winner and the loser. This feels especially true for Lamar Jackson, who enters the postseason with as many touchdowns as he has interceptions, throwing 8 of each. Lamar also holds a 2-4 record. If pain and failure are needed to tell a complete tale, then Jackson already has endured his part of that story. Remember last January when Jackson and company had the Chiefs dead to rights in Baltimore with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line? Yes, you had the Zay Flowers taunting penalty, and you had an ensuing fumble. It was an epic meltdown. But Jackson floundered in key moments, and you had an included forced throw into a tight window that was intercepted in the end zone with under 7 minutes to go. You can also look at Josh Allen when Jackson and Allen were supposed to meet in a similar sort of hyped matchup in the divisional round, and Jackson threw a pick six. Baltimore's hyped offense was held to just 3 points. I don't know if you guys have a pick in this game or not, but let me know. Who do you think wins in Buffalo on Sunday? Jackson's reputation has developed into that of a Jekyll and Hyde, with a playoff version of Lamar seemingly always looming to undercut his fantastic regular season. And to add, but to the conversation when you have to discuss him as a generational great. Allen, on the other hand, doesn't carry the same postseason reputation. He entered the playoffs this year with 21 touchdown tosses to just 4 picks. He rushed for 46 yards last week against the Denver Broncos to surpass Jackson for the most career postseason rushing yards at 609 by a quarterback ever. Allen's legacy is closely tied to being able to beat Mahomes and to overcome his kryptonite. The Bills are 0-3 in such matchups with KC in the playoffs. It's kind of like when Jordan finally beat the Pistons and then went on his legendary run. Both quarterbacks provided an appetizer of what we might see on Sunday, with both signal callers combining for 447 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and a combined, again, 76% completion percentage in the wild card. According to Next Gen Stats, Jackson completed 12.8% more of his passes than expected, against the Steelers, and Allen completed 16.5% more of his passes that were expected to be completed against the Broncos. Pittsburgh fielded 4 All-Pro pass rushers, and Denver led the NFL with 63 sacks, 9 more than number 2, Baltimore. However, the defenses couldn't touch greatness. And that's what we're expecting to see on Sunday when both teams face off. There's another aspect of this, and we mentioned at the beginning, it's the NFL MVP race that goes into it. Now, right now, Allen is a slight favorite, depending on where you may bet on this. And if you look at their stats, it's a little interesting to see that. Lamar Jackson, a better completion percentage by over 3%. Lamar Jackson, almost over 400 more yards passing this year. 13 more touchdowns throwing. He's thrown for 2 less picks. Also has more rushing yards. Now, Allen does have him in rushing touchdowns, 12-4. But it's a little bit intriguing to see Allen with the lead. I think both care about the NFL MVP award, and fans of both sides have their arguments. Who has more talent around them? Who has better stats? Who has done less with more? There's a lot of different ways that you could break this down and angle it. And there's a million angles and storylines going into this one. But if you asked each guy, and if I had to imagine, they'd both rather win this weekend than some award that is voted on or politicized or publicized for who knows what reasons. Now, this weekend's results are not supposed to impact who wins the award. Votes have supposedly already been cast, and the MVP has been decided. But no matter who wins the award the week before the Super Bowl, the winner of this game might be the one that we remember and consider the real MVP if they're able to elevate their team into a matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens are a 1-point favorite on the road, which in reality, and we mentioned it, does not mean a whole heck of a lot, but it is intriguing to see them get that bump and that advantage on the road in a chilly Buffalo. Which defense can elevate to slow the other side down? Who has more talent to be able to pull this thing off? There are valid questions about this game that need to be answered, and we will find out the answers to those questions on Sunday at 6:30. By about 9 o'clock at night on Sunday, we will know what each quarterback, what each team has done to accomplish the goal of winning this game and setting up that potential matchup with Pat Mahomes. But when it all comes down to it, if you told us today what the quarterback stat lines looked like, we'd have a pretty good idea of who came out on top of this one. Who can put the NFL MVP thoughts behind them? Who can put the frigid temperatures behind them? Who can put the narratives and the angles behind them and play better for 60 minutes on Sunday? When we know that, no matter what's announced later on in the NFL playoffs, no matter what's announced when the votes are tabulated and made aware, we will know who the real MVP was. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game, on this race, on this matchup, and I'd love to hear who you think wins on Sunday. Again, brand new channel, very first video. If you found it, we appreciate you, and we'd love to have you join us here on Pro Football Addiction.